You know that sometimes, you can go to the mirror and you can actually see if there's a lump and not necessarily try and self-medicate or self-diagnose yourself, but how do we now do that self-check?
Yeah, it's important that we are very well, I call it more being self-aware.
Right.
And when it comes specific to breasts, breast self-awareness for your own breast health, we are not even talking cancer here, just breast health, it's important for you to one, know how your breasts look like. You know, whether you are a man or a woman for that matter, you can do that by simply standing in front of a mirror. You know how they look like.
Yeah.
And many women will tell you in maybe one of the breasts is maybe slightly larger than the other, just may appear, but it's important that you just sort of internalize how do your breasts look like. You can stand in front of a mirror, you know, we say what, Hansa Kimbo, you know, yeah, just stand in front of a mirror and be able to internalize the look. Why that is important is that if these changes in the skin color, maybe some dimpling, you know, if there are any specific changes that have not been there, you'll be able to say, well, when I look at the mirror, myself at the mirror, I'm able to see some changes that have not been there, though they need to be checked, you know. And the other thing is how they feel like. So the look and feel is important. How do they feel like? And that is where you want to use their hands, right? You know, the opposite hand for the opposite breast. So you examine the right breast with the left hand. You know, you may start off. We try not to make it so rigid, like you must follow
a rhythm.
Yeah, for a very, very specific, so that the woman or the man, right, whoever is examined, does not feel like I didn't do it properly. But once you potentially then start from the nipple area and walk around in a circular motion around the breast, you know, working all the areas with an open palm, right, fingers together. So starting from the nipple all the way around, and while you're doing that, it's important to have your hand, you know, up, either stretched, yes, up, because you could do this even when you're standing. So you go around the breast and get to all the way to the tail of the breast, which is at the armpit. At the armpit. Again, you examine that area. You may miss out some lump, but you may feel a swelling. If you find a swelling at the armpit or in any area, that is where you can have a clinical breast examination, get an expert, you know, a doctor or a breast health nurse to check. So you repeat the same procedure on the opposite side, you know, do the circular motion all the way without missing any area until you reach the tail of the breast at the armpit, you know. If you do that consistently, you'll get to know how your breast feel, you know, because your fingers would be doing all the checking, and you know what the breast may feel lumpy or otherwise, and especially if during the periods. So we always tell people, you need to do this at least a week after the periods. During the periods, the breast will feel very lumpy, and perhaps uncomfortable and even painful. So you want to do that a week later, 7 days later, 10 days later, when the hormones, you know, have gone down, and it is much easier to get used to. So again, choosing a specific time is important. One can do it during a bath, you know, immediately after bathing, but at least a week after your periods, so that, you know, things are settled. And for the men, you don't need to worry because you're not getting periods. You can just choose a routine, specific period to do that. There's being breast aware and aware of your taking charge of your breast health. Yeah, obviously, as Dr. has said, if there's a normal discharge from the nipple, you know, you are not breastfeeding, you know, and you're having discharge from the nipple, that needs to to be checked as well. Yeah.
All right. That is a very good education. That is a very good class.
Yeah.
Education class on how to self-check,
Yeah.
self-examine the breast just for breast cancer or any lumps or any lymph nodes thereabout. But Mr. Makumi here talked about sometimes healthcare is not well coordinated and